Hi everyone, this is Bobby from bn-games.com, and we're here doing another classic capture. Today we're playing Max Payne for the PC. This game, well, if
looks
you haven't,
a hell of a lot better than I remember.
oh well, that is why I'm playing it on the PC. This game came out on the PC. It came out on the PS2, and it came out and the Xbox. The Xbox version looks better than the PS2 version, but I haven't owned the PC version and played it more on the PC than the PS2.
Which is kind of hard because you played a lot on the PS2.
Yeah, I would think I thought it would be better to do it on the PC. You know, the surprising part is the update actually supports modern aspect ratios, unlike a lot of older games.
It's definitely stretching a lot better than I would expect it to.
Yeah. And
look at that beautiful Grand Theft Auto engine.
I think this one probably got a lot more updates because this was one of the more popular Rockstar games.
Yeah.
You know, besides Grand Theft Auto.
so we're being topical because Max Payne 3 was released like about a week ago.
About week and a half.
Week and a half. So I thought we'd go back and see where it all started. We haven't done a review for Max Payne 3 as of this video yet. But Max Payne 1 is still superior from a writing and voice acting perspective, I think.
The voice acting.
And I missed that face. I missed that face.
It's like, yeah, I'm a drug dealer.
My problem with Max Payne 3 at the moment is he doesn't look like that.
Oh, he's supposed to be older. I mean, look at the concept art that they had. He was supposed to be bald.
Well, he eventually
does go bald.
Oh, that's weak.
He shaves his head.
I don't care.
He has a psychotic moment, and then he just kind of...
Oh, so Britney Spears?
Back then.
Actually, it's pretty fucked up.
Does it still do this in Max Payne 3?
Yes and no.
no.
It does a more modernized, kind of super... How do I put it? It's like the equivalent of if you were on Speed. You know Memento? I like to think of it like Memento, where it's got like this really kind of artsy film noir kind of thing going on. And in some scenes, it will pause the video into 3 parts like that.
They do
and
panel.
do a comic kind of thing.
You mean like the 70s kind of cop show start?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Personally, I really like it. I think it fits it really well because it's trying to rewrite itself a little bit. And it also has proper cutscenes. 3. This one doesn't. This has this. I don't know if 2 had.
2 was like
2
this.
had this as well.
2 is like this, which we're gonna do 2 probably next week.
A question: did 2 come out on the Xbox?
Yes.
Came out both of them came out.
Actually, I think the Xbox version came out with 1 and 2 in a bundle.
That might have happened.
Because I know they did that for Grand Theft Auto.
They did. Yeah, they did for Grand Theft Auto because they actually came out the trilogy.
Right.
The original PC version I bought actually came with a mouse pad, which I still use.
Yeah, in fact, we're looking at it right now.
It looks almost white when it originally was black.
That's true. Well, I have put it in the washer. It has survived
We
washing
should put up a
machines.
picture of it.
I've spilled so much like food and other stuff on it, but it's been
soda.
washed. So, in the current time, I'll be honest with you, this game is really hard to play with a high-end laser mouse. I'm using a Logitech
A Logitech
MX,
battery drainer.
MX, yeah.
A Logitech shotgun.
It's like 20,000 DPI, and I was struggling to get the aim. You know, I played a lot of Unreal Tournament, and I'm used to Twitch shooting, but, man, some of the precision you need here is kind of crazy, so I would recommend turning down your mouse
It's just kind of a
sensitivity.
quick thing right there. When I see the comic things, it almost reminds me of like a Watchmen beginning.
Yeah.
I never saw that, so...
Really? That's a little surprising.
It does. It kind of looks like the prologue to a Watchmen character.
And actually, the Watchmen intro is a better way to describe how 3 looks, although more stylized. Yeah. Actually, so I think we were touching a little bit ago on how the voice acting, in my book, the voice acting is the thing that held up the best from this game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the graphics aren't bad.
No.
But it's a little blocky.
Is it the same actor?
It's not. It's not the same actor. From what I was reading up, they recasted him because they couldn't get the original guy because he left with the original company. But they got someone, and the reason they changed up his voice is because it's supposed to be around 10 to 15 or so years after. Or a good, like maybe closer to 10, I guess. And he's supposed to be a lot more mature, and all the fact that he's a drunk and he's gone through a lot of shit has kind of changed his whole demeanor and his voice.
So I think I should mention that the intro gives you a really good idea of what kind of fucked up situation
this game is fucked up.
It is dark and if you're wondering why I did that, I've always done that. Yeah. So premise is his wife and kid get killed. The Matrix was really popular. That's where the bullet time thing comes in.
This was also one of the first games to use that kind of feature.
Yep. And it was to some extent, it was Max Payne's gimmick because the LA Noire thing wasn't going to just hold up. You know,
well, this was kind of like one of the first games that were like that. And then again, like the bullet time was kind of this game's selling point, especially because of the Matrix. I don't know if it's just stretching. It's really bothering me. The doors look so unproportional.
Yeah. In fact, everything looks really unproportioned.
I would still rather play this on the PC than the PS2, though. It looks better.
1,000 times better than what I remember the PS2.
Yeah, and it flows a lot nicer. No, the loading times aren't as bad as the PS2.
He doesn't know what to do with all that processing power that was never designed for.
I know the comic book pages don't take all that much to render, and they just still look a lot better than.
Besides the voice acting, I think the audio itself, the recording, is still. When he goes from speaking in third or
narration,
go from narration
to actually him
the actual
in the actual process of
volumetric when it's volumetric in a room. Yeah. It still works, and if you have a good set of headphones,
if you want to ruin your day, just sit down and listen to him talk for a while.
I like the way he talks.
No. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying this motherfucker depresses you.
That's got to say something, because the last game that depressed Marco like
that, the cold, shattered microphone stared me in the face. As I spoke into it, I realized that my day was being ruined and sucked away like the dry, black, lustreless night that surrounded us. Just shit like that.
That was pretty good.
Like shit like that. Like then all of a sudden I want to cut myself.
You gotta say something to that, because the last game that ruined Marco's day was like when Eris died.
Yeah, that's true. But this is something in its own thing, and that's a testament to how well the story has held up in my book for this.
Not to delve too further into Max Payne 3, because obviously this is not Max Payne 3, but one of my biggest problems with Max Payne 3 is it's not based in New York. I know there are flashbacks. I know there's one particular longer flashback.
Hey, well, look, even John McClane didn't spend his whole time there.
Well, that doesn't matter. You know,
he's a little out of place.
Yeah, he's way out of place. I want to shoot up bad New York stereotypes.
I will agree with that. He's a little out of place in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I think
yeah,
I mean, it's some of the locales that look a little bit more grungy, kind of New Yorkish are okay.
It's kind of like they took the Resident Evil kind of thing, where they took Raccoon City to South Africa.
Yeah, I don't know. He seems really out of place.
Is that leopard?
I'd have to find
yes.
out fast.
Yes, it is. And he doesn't wear that, and I got a problem. He does. His tie is kind of leopard when during the New York sequence in 3, but he doesn't wear the shirt like here. I think that was one of my favorite things. This is back in like the Duke Nukem days when you want to interact with the environment with everything. It always did something. So doors open, faucets turned on, that kind of thing.
I don't remember Duke Nukem ever really being that interactive.
That's why the new one was so much to that point.
Yeah, well,
it was reminiscent of that.
Yeah, that's I remember playing that.
I think one of the thing to mention, even more than just the story, is it is a very hard game still. It is still challenging. There's no rebuilding health here, and there isn't in 3 either.
That's another one of the gimmicks you could say.
Another thing, this
the painkiller system.
Another thing that I think 3 has that this doesn't is a cover system, right?
Yeah.
Yes. This doesn't have a cover system.
It has a cover system, which is pretty good. It has a much more refined attack system overall, so it's a lot easier to lock on and get these kills. Although in its defense, it's still a pretty hard game. This is a lot harder.
I think the thing that you have to rely on that jump. You have to rely on the bullet time. Because in 3, you can still get hit by bullets when you're in bullet time. In bullet time in the first one like this, when you're in bullet time, like you bullet time sideways, it is very rare that you're going to get hit. And a lot of the kills, I would call it memorization. You got to memorize where the enemies are if you don't want to get lose half your health.
So you're gonna end up going through the same level a couple times in some instances.
Oh yeah, especially this one. A lot of people stopped playing the game because this was so difficult. And keep in mind, it only gives you the first difficulty level when you start the game until you finish the game. It gives you Fugitive, which is the top one. You can't select the other ones, and then you can get the other ones after you finish the game. And it just there's one where I think you get shot once and you're dead, which in this game seems almost impossible. You see, I'm moving sideways and you can see the bullets flying away, but as long as I'm in the air, I'm usually okay. And it doesn't help that I'm using this mouse. Like I said, it's really, really sensitive, and I'm just I was kind of struggling just to try to keep
punch. But why can't soda machines work like that in real life?
And the shitty part is it doesn't give you any health. It doesn't give you any health. That's the worst part.
Oh, so it's not.
The security panel.
What game is that game we used to play?
I'd need the right code.
Drink from the soda machines and give
Fighting Force.
Yeah, Fighting Force is the one that did that.
Oh, I know there's a more recent one. I can't think of it. Oh, Dead Island. Dead Island.
That's
that's true. Yeah, and this is using the same engine. I believe it's using the same engine as Grand Theft Auto 3, 4, and San Andreas. There was a sequel besides 3 that we keep referring to, Max Payne 2, which came out a little after this one.
Which was before 3.
Yeah, before 3, obviously.
Max Payne.
Yeah, the fall of Max Payne.
It was, and it was arguably better than the first one, although depending on the fan base, some people like the first one better, some people like the second one better. I like them equally.
Another reason why it's better is they've yet to make a crappy movie about it.
Damn it! You had to mention that.
He mentioned it the other day, and I was like, I was able to block that out of my memory.
Starring Mark Wahlberg as Max Payne.
I think we should just end the video here because you've depressed me more than Max ever could.
We accomplished what we set out to do. We ruined your day like Max Payne would.
I like this. I'm like, hey, are you okay, buddy? No,
but see, you're watching Max Payne, and then I ruined it on top of that, so it's like a super ruined day.
So it's Max Payneception.
It's Max ruined.
You're gonna start memes here. That sucked. It was reloaded, and he took half my health with one fucking shot. Oh, that was another big thing. Was the at the time it was big. The environment, like the walls would crack. When the bullets would hit it, and they would stay there. If you had enough RAM. If you didn't have enough RAM, they would not stay. Something to mention about the Windows 7 thing, I think is a good point, is this is running on Windows 7, and this is actually...
Well, first of all, it's easily available on Steam.
Yeah, that's what I get to.
I think that's the main problem with it, is that it's easily available on Steam, and this fix is not implemented into it. When we originally installed it here, because Bobby had owned it on Steam... for some time now, right?
Yeah, I bought it on one of those crazy Steam sales for like $2.
Right, and he hasn't played it since. He decided, hey, let's do it because Max Payne 3 is out. Yeah. And we're like, okay. So he installed it, and there was a particular issue that's a known common issue that a lot of people have and encounter, which is that when you load it up on Windows 7 or Windows Vista, there's an issue where not all of the audio will load, particularly during the cutscenes. The audio won't load. Also, some of the secondary stuff that's on that track will not load either. So in the beginning, where his wife and baby are killed, you don't hear them crying and her asking for help.
You also don't hear his voiceover about
the past tense stuff, right? The him reminiscing on it. You only hear the actual stuff that's happening, and the reasoning for that is apparently the engine doesn't play very well with Windows 7 as far as the audio goes. So you have to rely on a method to fix that, and we're actually going to post that up.
Yeah, there'll be a download link in the bottom.
I think we should just post up the
forum,
the Steam forum link, and then people can decide what they need to do. So if you want to get this game, which is pretty cheap, I think, right?
Right now, I believe it's $10 on Steam. During the Steam Madness sales, it goes down to like $2.
Right, and you can also get this on CD, on eBay or Amazon or wherever you want it. And the issue will still exist. So we felt like we should tell you.
And if you don't have problems, just buy it on the PS2, but it looked like crap.
It doesn't. It's not.
Well, it won't look
It
good.
doesn't look as good.
It looks about as good as Grand Theft Auto 3 would in this day.
But it's still a great game on the PS2.
Yeah. And if you're not good with keyboard and mouse, and the controller is your preference, then the PS2 version is probably. In fact, the PS2 version is.
Or if you're in a country where the PS2 just came out.
Here's
Brazil.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Here's a question.
Sony Epson?
Actually, here's a good question, which I don't even know if you guys know. But say you hook up an Xbox control, will this
No.
map?
Yes
You'd
and
have
no.
to do-
Yes and no.
Yeah.
There are programs that will let you map it, so you can do it.
Not natively.
How well will it work?
About as well as gamepads used to work for the PC version of Grand Theft Auto, which was slim to none back in the day. Anyway,
It can be done, but not natively.
if you don't own a machine that'll run this, which I can't imagine you don't at this point in time, but if you don't want to use a keyboard and mouse, if you're one of those people who can't understand that concept because you were probably born after 2000.
Or you just never had a gaming PC for whatever
So much
reason.
for being son.
Yeah, the PS2 is probably the second best option, and in fact, I should mention as of this point, before GameStop stops selling them, you can find these in their PS2 bargain thing, the PS2
The bargain
the loose ones, for $2 to $3. Maybe five.
I believe it's like 5 to 10.
Not
Because
10.
it's still one of the better PS2s.
It's one of the
games.
better ones, but it's also one of those kind of forgotten ones. GameStop might have pulled up the price with 3 coming out, but
If you want to get it on the console, get it on the Xbox. It handles a little bit better
the
there.
one that's even
But otherwise,
harder
get
to
it on the PC.
Yeah, and it's you wouldn't be playing this particularly for gameplay perspective. I think you would want to play this for the story and the voice acting, and then especially if you're playing 3, it's hard to imagine people playing 3 if they never played 1 and 2.
I disagree with that. I think it's pretty accessible, but this puts a lot of the shit that he's gone through in context and makes it realize that he has a pretty fucked up life.
Yeah, because look at how many people are probably going into Resident Evil on 5.
Yeah.
It still gives you a bit, and you can still play it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
but
they're
you
pretty
don't
good.
understand the backstory.
They're pretty good about making it accessible to everyone, especially new people, because that's where they get most of their money from. If they can get 10 people who like the game, but 2 people who don't and are going to start the series, any future sales, they come from that.
I mean, what? How long was it? Like 11 years since they did it?
No,
Max Payne?
Or no, not that long.
I think the last one came out in 2004, didn't it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So maybe
7, 8 years.
Almost 10 years, hell.
Yeah, we'll see. And that's why, to go that
Bobby,
long.
keep in mind, I was thinking about this the other day. 2000 was 12 fucking years ago.
That's true.
2000 was 12 years. I was 8.
You're making me sad here.
I
Making me
was
feel old.
8.
Okay, but that's what I'm getting at. Being the game went that long just undeveloped, you need to kind of make a new fan base for it. So
I bought this version of the game at Fry's, which if you're not from California or Washington,
West Coast.
if you're not from the West Coast, you know what Fry's is. But if you are,
In-N-Out. Sorry, I did that.
it's the electronics version of In-N-Out.
we have fries and In-N-Out.
I bought this at Fry's and the box, and I got that mouse pad we've talked about, and then I got the PS2 version. I don't know why I got the PS2 version after.
You got the PS2 version first.
No, I had the PC version first because the PC version came with the mouse pad first, and then I got it after the fact.
I remember it the other way, but my memory anymore.
Look, it's been so goddamn long.
Yeah, well, either way, I think you might have even just got it because you've seen it and you wanted it.
That sounds like Bobby already.
Very, very likely. But like I said, from a story and audio perspective, which is why you want to play a lot of
in
games.
its defense too, just so people don't get turned off. The gameplay's good. It's just keep in mind if you're going into this the first time, it's not an easy game.
No, not by any means.
It's not a walk in the park. If it were a walk in the park, it would be a lot more enjoyable as a story. But you do have to kind of play at it to get through it.
Well, I should also mention that I've done the
ages
Max
ago, the
Payne
bomb was
theme
missing a
on
dead
guitar,
man.
which I'm actually going to post a link to that as well. If you want to learn it on electric guitar, I like the theme. This game, like we said, is on Steam. It goes for about $10 on Steam. When Steam sales come out, you can probably buy it for dirt cheap. And the PS2 version is probably the most accessible and easiest to find. And probably cheapest. Definitely cheaper than the PC version. So if you own a PS2 or PC, it's still a viable game. I get killed here because I messed up. But anyway, please subscribe and